Hey, what's up, Succession fans? I want to share 6 thoughts I have on Season 4, Episode 8 of Succession, America Decides, as well as some thoughts on what's going to happen over the next 2 episodes. Before we jump into it, for my Better Call Saul friends, I've got a new video. It's already done. I'm just editing it on Michael Ehrmantraut and his moral code. That's going to be coming out on my YouTube channel in the next couple days. Also, I apologize. I was hoping to do Succession videos every single week. Obviously, I haven't been able to do it. Life, work got in the way, so hopefully we'll just talk about Succession over the next 3 episodes and how the series wraps up. So let's just jump into my 6 thoughts. The first one that I have, full credit to Alan Sepinwall. He has a Substack. He also writes over at Rolling Stones. He's a fantastic television analyst. He wrote that in this episode, the characters go to their core. They don't hold back from themselves and who they really are any longer. Just like what we saw in The Sopranos and that wonderful series and how it ended, just like we saw at the end of Breaking Bad, the characters get to the crux of who they really are towards the end of the show, and that's what we're seeing right now in Succession. I thought it was a fantastic point. Obviously, we see Roman going to the lowest levels that we've ever seen him before in this episode, where he holds nothing back. He's completely ruthless about what he wants. Kendall, who started the series wanting to be CEO, and then he had those, 1.5, 2 seasons where he was kind of middling and couldn't decide whether he wanted to be CEO. Well, we actually saw in this past episode, he was middling. He couldn't decide whether he was going to support Roman or he was going to support Shiv. Obviously, in the end, he chose to side with Roman, thanks to Greg in part, but that's really him going back to the core of what he wanted, which was power. He wanted the chance to take a swing at the bat of being CEO. And with Roman, by following Roman, he's going to have that chance. He's going to have a chance to be CEO with Roman. If the deal goes through, he's not going to have that chance to be CEO. So he's going back to the core of who he is. The question that I'm asking, though, is, what is the core of what Shiv wants? What's at her core, and what's she really trying to accomplish? Does she have that drive and desire to be CEO the way that Roman and Kendall do? I'm actually not sure. But if she does, and she does want to be CEO, but I'm just not sure it's going to go to the same lengths as them, which we're going to find out. I've got some predictions at the end of this episode, but what's she going to do to stop her brothers? And so that's kind of what's on my mind, at least with her. The second thought that I have on this show is that it has such a unique blend of comedy and drama that's so original. And if I'm being completely honest, the comedy and the drama combined, I think it actually takes a little bit away of the show for me personally, because I actually think the comedy might be even better than the drama. The wasabi in the eye of the decision desk guy who... he was on Breaking Bad. Elliot, I believe his name was. Greg awkwardly trying to get Shiv to buy him off, to buy his silence. Connor's disaster of an election speech. I thought all of those were hilarious moments in time, and I absolutely loved it. I loved that part of the show. But what's hard for me to square is that amazing comedy with the quick transition to a drama, and a scathing social and political commentary. It just goes back and forth so quickly. Of course, in terms of the drama, we have a blend of nihilism, which Roman exhibits when he says nothing effing matters in response to his siblings being upset about what he's doing with the direction of ATN. The show also represents kind of a feeling of hopelessness in that the people in power in media in our country have a vastly disproportionate amount of weight on what happens in American society. And their interest, the corporate media's interest in the people making those decisions, they're not always, if ever, aligned with what's best for the actual country. So I totally like both of those elements, the comedy and the drama. I like the points that I think it's Jesse Armstrong. I like the points that he's trying to make and the other writers are trying to make, but it's just hard for me to appreciate each of them fully when it goes back so quickly. And I might be in the minority here, but I just wanted to point that out and see if anyone else agrees with me. Put it in the comments below. Put it in down below if you don't agree with me. One other thing, it's hard for me to take the dramatic elements of the show as seriously when I see Shiv and Kendall and Roman being so ill-equipped for what they're trying to do. As Logan says, these are not serious people. So when we shift into dramatic mode, I'm thinking to myself, none of these people are equipped to actually take over as CEO. But I do admit that might be one of the main points that the show is trying to get across. So maybe this is just me. My third thought is that we still have two looming threats out there. Kendall killed someone in season 1. One threat that's not out there is Shiv turning on her brothers, because we already addressed that in the last episode, but that was a threat, and it came across and hurt Shiv when they found out that she was teaming up with Matsson. And then the third threat that we have to one of the siblings is Roman and his pictures that he sent Jerry. I'm not going to say what kind of pictures they are because I don't want to get this kicked off YouTube. But I think the shoe is going to drop on those other two threats, on Roman and on Kendall. I'm actually pretty confident that they're going to bring those back up in the future, and I haven't seen anything. That's just a guess. The fourth thought that I have is that Shiv is not flawless in this. A lot of the commentary that I see on social media and in articles, they kind of stand for Shiv, and they kind of, prop her up in opposition to Roman and Kendall. And I get why you wouldn't like, I get why you wouldn't like Roman and Kendall. But Shiv bringing up her pregnancy to Tom on election night when he has a ton going on, it's just a terrible time to bring it up. I honestly thought that was a manipulative tactic to get Tom on her side, to get the election going where she wanted it to go. It obviously didn't work. She handled Greg quite poorly, as we already know. We know that Greg's basically going to take the easiest route he can to get whatever he wants, i.e. to get ahead, to get power, to get money. So if you bribe Greg, he's likely going to go for it. I think it's a sure thing that he would go for it. So from Shiv's point of view, you need to be able to play ball if you want to get ahead, just like what we saw Roman do with Mencken. He played ball with Mencken, whether he agrees or disagrees with all of his policies, and I think Roman does agree, but even if he didn't agree, Roman would still probably play ball with him to get what he wants. And that's where Shiv honestly came up short in this episode. My fifth thought that I have on this episode is, what was the point of Connor? What was the point of his story arc? His concession speech, as I said before, I thought it was hilarious. I would have loved that, more of that throughout the 4th season that we've just had. But I'm left wondering what's going to happen to his character the next 2 episodes, if anything. Is it done? Did we already just see the climax of his episode, of his story arc? And if so, I've got to say, I'm a little disappointed. I would have liked more fleshing out Connor's election. I would have liked more consequences from that election. I would have liked to see more from the 2 political candidates and kind of flesh them out, as opposed to maybe making passing references to them in the past, but then really upping their spotlight towards the end of the season. I just don't like this, and I said this in Better Call Saul. I don't like new characters, relatively new characters getting an outweighed importance in the last season, unless you're going to flesh them out fully throughout the entire season. So I didn't love, if Connor's done, I didn't love what we got from him, because I think it could have been more, and I think it could have been more impactful. My 6th thought that I have is a prediction. I think Shiv's going to end up on top, and I know I've kind of been railing on Shiv a little bit. She's obviously not perfect, but she's got the least amount of warts out of the 3 siblings in my mind, and she might be able to team up with someone smarter than all 3 of them combined, and that's Matsson. She might be able to get Matsson, who's going to be able to help pull this out for her on her behalf. So I'm also going to guess that she's going to team up with Jerry. She's going to get these pictures of Jerry somewhere. She's going to expose Kendall in his car accident, and she is going to go to the furthest extent possible to become CEO. At least that's what I think right now. I'm excited to see the episode tonight. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you next time.